Right, folks, how's everyone doing? Right. Hope everyone is having a great day. Just a few things that we covered last time that we covered in between streams. Hey Thomas, how you doing? I managed to get the 2.5mm inserts set up. We're going to do the wiring, some semi-wiring for the X and Y axis at the end of the stream once the Z axis is full. Hey Scope UK, how you doing? But for now, we're actually going to get rid of this entirely and move on to the Z axis. So that's going to go on the floor for now. Right, how you two doing? How's everything in your lives going? If you are following along, we'll go through the whole diagram. So, Stumbling Fool, morning from New Zealand. Well, good evening to you too. It's like morning for me anyway. I was up until like 7 a.m. yesterday after the stream, so I didn't get very much sleep when I was meant to get sleep. I only woke up a few hours ago. All right. If following along, this is the kind of pattern that we ask you to set up whilst you're from the manual. It's the two big beams first. These get paired together, facing opposite to each other, so that they form that little cavity, and that's where your ballast box is going to sit. Then this is your mid-span. Sorry, that's your mid-span. This is the extrusion for the rails. So we're going to do rails, I think, last most probably. So put that over there. Actually, no, we'll do those first because you can't really access them with the FMJs. There is a supplemental guide somewhere for FMJs. There we go, FMJ. All right, let's do this one first, shall we? Yep, so we'll need some rails. We'll have to lube these up. Panels for Casa arrived. Nice, nice. What color are you going for with Casa? With your Casa build? Garden needed some attention. Fair enough. Is this because of the shed? Who was it that was putting a shed in yesterday? Was it you? Keep the rubber stoppers around for now. I'm doing the dangerous thing. Taking the carriages off. I'm guessing there's a lot of people who are busy tonight because it is a Saturday night. Probably hanging with family. Not got as many people as we usually do. That's all right. I'm sure I can still entertain you in my own way. Let's get some music going for you guys as well. I got black extrusions and went with clear PC panels. No, not my shed yesterday. Ah. Okay, so what color are you going for the actual printed parts? Oh, you may have noticed since yesterday I've got rid of some of the tool racks, so I may be spinning around a lot more to grab tools. It just means there's more space for me to build, and I don't need to move the camera so far over the edge so that you can see. That way you don't have to watch my feet all day, or all evening, like you did yesterday. Those two with that rail, those two with this rail. Where is my little screwdriver that I'm using? I have yet to print my part. My action color on Milo is steel blue. Nice. Nice. I've just been working out a bit of a deal for some new filaments, some galaxy blue from the guys over at West 3D. Also, by the way, Alan Rowland, super nice guy. He's good people. I like him. Made some great videos on the Milo build. Yeah, he did. He made some really good quality ones. I do appreciate it when members of the community do stuff like that. It just makes everyone's lives a lot easier, a lot nicer. I wish we had a video guy. I wish we had a media guy on the team. Someone whose whole job was doing stuff like that, but we just don't. Oh well. But we'll survive. Yeah, I do wish I put a bit more forethought into Casa having some accent colors, because I've seen some people setting up builds in Fusion just to check the colors and things like that, and they look really nice. But I thought it's an enclosure no one really wants it to be that fancy. I was obviously wrong. Very nice. So that's the rails cleaned up and greased for the Z-axis. I think installing them now is probably what we need to do. So I'll need some M3s. We're not making the same mistake as we made yesterday, where I put M5s in and then had to redo the entire thing. M3s. Also, one mistake I've made from yesterday, for the anti-backlash blocks, I accidentally used the M3x10 screws. They meant to be M3x8. That's fine, because trust me, after the Casa build, I have tons of M3x10 left over that I can use. I would go all black, but maybe a lighter color is better to keep the inside clean and not as dark. Yeah, remember the Disco on a Stick module is coming out once it's been tested, and that should be soon. Josh Murrah? I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He's offered to do some testing for me, some independent testing for me. So when he gets back to us on that, hopefully it's all good news, and then we can get that put up as a module, and everyone can start building again. Building that specific module, that is. M3x10, where have you got M3x10? 3x6. M3x10. Also, people in the chat, make yourself known. I know we have a lot of lurkers here. We don't really say very much, but I do appreciate it when people speak on stream. It gives me something to interact with. Instead of you just watching me put screws into a machine. So many projects, so little time. Yeah, I've just committed to 2 more as well. Never enough time in the day, apparently. 1, 2, 3, 4. Only got 4 in. Should be fine. I'm going to tighten up one end and leave the other loose, so we can fix those later. Scope UK, are the team planning to be at Smurf again this year? Yes. So we are going to be a silver table this year. So if you were there last year and saw us, that was a bronze table. It was the smallest table you could get. We're now a silver member, so we have enough space to bring a full casa and have some extra stuff on the side. And I think we're even in the brochure this year. So yes, we're going to be at Smurf this year. We can't quite afford a team visit out to Rocky Mountain Festival this year, but hopefully things go well and we get a whole load of donations next year and stuff like that. Last year was the first time seeing the machine and watching it run around properly. Yeah. I'm guessing I must have spoken to you at some stage then. Yeah, it was a good day. I liked it. I went into it thinking, oh, no one's gonna like us. No one's gonna know who we are. We're gonna be completely missed at all times. And then they put us at the entrance hall. The entrance bit, the speaking hall, and everyone came through and talked to us, and it was so much fun, and we could mess around, and people were really impressed. People had really good words to say about it. I loved it. I loved the whole experience, and I'm not a social person. I much prefer to be at home, kind of chilling out. I don't like big crowds, but I absolutely loved that day. Well, those 2 days. I'm going to do something I didn't do yesterday. I'm just going to mark which one is my reference rail, just in case I forget. So I've marked this rail with a little squiggly line, and I'm going to tighten up both ends of this, and this is going to be my reference rail. So this rail can freely move around until we tighten up later. But this rail is going to stay stationary, and it's going to be what we reference the other side off of. We won't tighten the middle yet, though. Just to the sides. The end, sorry. You got quite some attention on YouTube last year. Yeah. What did we get? We were on 3D printing noob. We were Smurf on 60 seconds. That's what we were. No, it's not 3D printing noob. Sorry. 3D printing nerd. So we did Smurf in 60 seconds with him. We did some stuff with Nero. We did a full video with Nero, and we did a full video with 3D printing nerd. 3D maker noob. Sorry, 3D maker noob. So yeah, we had quite a bit. We did some stuff with Mandic. Really. But we were packing up at the time that he finally got some time to actually come over and have a look at our booth. So we didn't manage to get a video out, but I know he's streaming soon, and I've talked to him a few times. I think it'd be good. It was Nero's stream that I first saw it. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, he did a stream as well on the day and walked around the show floor. and that's when people were kind of, that was the first time it was on YouTube, was that little stream. It was a great event. It was the little creator after party that they had was weird because there was a bunch of nerds in a room with a bunch of kind of like academic high class people, and they on one side of the room it was champagne being served by a bunch of effectively butlers, and then on the other side was a bunch of pizzas, and I just thought it was a weird mix mash between people have dressed up in the normal like day-to-day nerdy clothes and gone around to be real nerdy with 3D printers, and that's absolutely fine. And then on the other side of the room were all these kind of high academics in suits and ties and dresses and all that kind of thing. It was a bit weird. It was good, but it was weird. I'm in that Nero stream looking rather gormless. Yeah. There's a bit where Xscale gets I think Nero was doing a stream and he was reviewing the stream from Smurf. And he got Xscale and me mixed up, and Xscale's just kind of in the background just looking really weird. Heard rumors about the planned LDO kit before. Yeah, we've been planning, but it's a new project. Oh no, OBS is disconnected. Why do this? Are we back yet? Are we back? I don't know why, but my internet connection's been really spotty. I know we're technically in the middle of a storm right now, here in the UK. Well, up where I am at least. But my internet has been a bit spotty the last few days. So, if you haven't joined me for if you weren't here yesterday and I didn't explain the plan to you, plan for this Milo build is where I'm not using the LDO supplied FMJs because those are aluminium ones. Nothing wrong with them, they're still really good, but I do have a set of steel FMJs that I'm going to be using instead of. And this should. I did do like a weigh up of all the parts earlier today, and just Milo without the electronics bit box is going to be 23.5 kilos. To put that in perspective, normally with the electronics box is when you get with the electronics box you often get a machine that's about 25 kilos. I'm 23 kilos, 23.5 kilos. Without the electronics box, so this is going to be a heavy boy, which is good. Right. Best way to do this. I always hate the FMJ steps. How many of these do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Fortunately, I didn't get a chance to design these. If I did, I would have made them have far less fasteners. Kilos without Milo. What? Oh, I'm 100 kilos without Milo. Yeah, I'm 93 kilos on average. It is M5 by 12, isn't it? M5 by 10. Never mind. M5 by 10, M5 by 10. There we go. This is a bit awkward with the rails on here, so is there any way I can bump everything up a little bit? No, not really, is there? No, that's not gonna fit. I guess I'll have to deal with it until I can flip it over. Just kidding, but my Casa panels are 17 kilograms when I believe, actually. Yep. Yep, that sounds about right. The panels are really heavy on Casa. They make up a good portion of the weight. Sometimes you need something a bit pokier. There you go. Perfect. Lean it on its side a little bit. With the steel FMJs, are you filling the ballast box for resonance, or is that not required? I am going to fill it because it's never a bad idea to do it. But yes, you will feel a lot less resonance with the steel FMJs because they just add a lot more weight. They're 3 times as heavy as the aluminium ones. And yes, whilst people in the comments, or people have said in the past, just because there's weight doesn't mean it's going to be dampening. At this scale, most things will be damping, will provide some kind of vibration dampening. So it's never a bad idea to add some weight to Milo. Obviously, don't stick like just a thin sheet of aluminium. That's going to wobble around and cause vibration. Don't be stupid, but yeah, any amount of weight is good weight. I stretched the box to 30mm height, matching FMJs. Don't know if that makes a real difference or not, but it could. What do you mean by stretch the box? 30mm height. Oh, so you made it so that it was more. So it was a bit taller. It won't be bad. I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to modify that part for the future and make it so it slides into the features on the extrusions, the little teeth here. You should be able to fit a little bit more epoxy granite in there. It should help a little bit, but it's more for actually transferring that weight. Sorry, that vibration. It should help a little bit more than just having a box there. And it's one of those things that's a good modification to a part because it requires absolutely no fastener changes, so anyone can do it. Anyone can reprint it. And the kits won't be affected. We are a bit limited to what we can do with, in terms of upgrades to Milo V1.5 at the moment, because we're kind of beholden to people who have kits now, which is, it's not great, but it's better to have that than have no kits at all, isn't it? have done that. I shouldn't have done that. I need something long and pokey. Slightly stiff. What do I have? What do I have that fits that bill? Oh, I've used the end of a zip tie before, but I don't know what I can use. I don't have those size zip ties anymore. Bit of filament maybe. Try a bit of filament. If you don't know what I'm on about, getting the actual T-nuts on the inside in the places that you actually want them in can be a bit of a pain because you can't always reach that far with your fingertips. That one can stay there. So I'm using a little bit of filament to push them into place. There we go. Nice. One more, that little section there. Yeah, this is the most boring part of this build, I'm afraid. It's just watching... just putting in hundreds and hundreds of peanuts. Right, I see 9 people here, but only 2 likes. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. It does help out. It actually does inform other people that I'm not that bad of a human being. Indeed it does. That's a complete lie. Obviously I'm an awful human being, but still, you know. No good story ever starts with the truth. Oh, seems we've got a whole load of more people who have joined. Welcome, folks. Thank you for being here. Sound off in the chat, and we'll I'll say hi. You say hi, I'll say hi. At this point, we can start lining up those extrusions. If you don't want to do the, I think it's an 18mm measurement, what you can do is get your bearing block, press it up against the first extrusion, and then you can push this lower one until they sit flush. If you can see that there. So now the bottom of this is flush with the bottom of this extrusion, and then you can start tightening that up. So it doesn't move. Oh, 10 people and still only 5 likes. Come on, we can get 100%. We managed to get 120% likes for the last 2 days running, so we can definitely get at least 100% today. That's the last I'll mention of it, I promise. Anyways, Thomas. Hello, Dominic. How you doing, bud? Hope you're having a wonderful day. And for these other two, the top part of the extrusion should line up with the top part of the midsection extrusion, so that should be pretty flat going across there. But we can adjust that in a second. What I'll do for now... Oh, that looks like it's a bit twisted. We'll do the adjustments after this panel's on. We'll loosen these all up just a tiny bit. Like that smash button for you. Oh, I really do appreciate that, bud. There's no greater thing a man can do for another man than to like his smash button. Or smash his like button. Truly, you're a patriot. I don't know what I'm talking about. Ooh, accidentally paused the music there. The right height. That's still the right height. Perfect. One in this channel over here because it's the only one that gets installed on this side, I do believe. And I can slide that in. Do a rough line up for it. Dominic, how's your day been, dude? What have you been up to? Then we get my little bit of filament. And then we'll do 3 more. Messing with belt tension on my Mercury 1. What? Is the Mercury 1 just the frame of an Ender 3 and then kind of not Voronized, but you know what I mean? Just Core X wide. Like, is there a reason to build a Mercury 1 over another printer? there's always a reason to build one thing over another, because one thing might just be fun to build, all right? It might just be fun to do something different, so that's absolutely fine. But is there a practical reason to build one? Into 5, sorry, not into 3. Does it have to be the Pro version, or can it just be any version at all? When I mean Pro and Plus, obviously. Any version, they are dirt cheap. You bought it for 150. I get that, but surely the frame, to buy a 2020 extrusion frame, is just as cheap. So, or cheaper. So why buy the original? Why buy the printer and then break it down rather than just buying it all new? Don't get me wrong, I'm no stranger to a conversion. My switch wire conversion over there was an Anycubic Mega, and that didn't even Anycubic Mega? Yeah, something like that. And I love that build. That was my favorite build of all time. And I never used that printer, which is weird because out of all my Vorons, it's the one that had printed with the best quality, and it's the only one that doesn't have input shaper on it. And it's the only one that's a bed slinger as well, so you'd expect there to be more ringing on it. And bed, board, PSU, it all adds up quite quick. That's fair, actually. That's fair. Printer beds are just one of those things that everyone forgets about. Everyone goes, "Oh, I'll make myself a custom 3D printer in a custom size," but then they get down to it, and the bed is always the thing that throws people off. You always end up having to use a bed that's already used by a different company, or made by a different company. Like, I think the stock switch wire uses a Prusa bed, or at least a Prusa carriage for the bed. It's a little bit easier to get away with it with Core XYs because you don't need to. You can kind of make a custom solution for it, and it won't cost too much. But for a bed slinger, my switcher started life as Creality CR20. I have no idea what the CR20 even is. Is that like an upgrade to the CR10? Because I had a CR10 for a while, and I've never seen anyone switch wire it. And I would love to. I would have loved to, but I don't have that printer anymore. It met its demise because I kept stealing parts off of it to fix other printers, and it was just taking up space. And then we started the desktop machine shop, and that space is desperately needed for other printers. And other projects and things. I know this isn't lined up anyway, just in case there's any eagle-eyed amongst you. I'm just putting the screws in and lining them up, and then I'm going to adjust everything once it's all flipped over. Think more Ender 3 for professionals. It was left over from work. Oh, fair enough. Right. So it's easiest if you put one FMJ on, flip the entire assembly around, and then you can do your adjustments for extrusions, things like that. I've already shown you that this extrusion here should be lined up with the bottom of the bearing block. So what you can do is you can just press a 1, 2, 3 block up against it. Try and move the green part back and forth. If it moves too much, then you should adjust it by moving this extrusion down. If it doesn't, it's fine. And then we're going to do the same thing for the top extrusions. I'm just going to get a 1, 2, 3 block, press it up against the top of the extrusions so that it's actually hitting all 3 extrusions, 1, 2, and 3, and then press it up. And that should ensure that these are now square and flat. You can also go and double check to make sure that these are all square. These seem to be. And then what we'll do is we'll flip it back over and we'll start tightening everything up. Just be careful when you're flipping it back over, because you have just checked to make everything straight. You don't want to move it by accident and then everything comes out squonk. You always work from the outside in when tightening, but you're working from the outside in on each extrusion and each row. So for example, this row here, these 2 middle bolts here, are the top of this extrusion, but I wouldn't go ahead and start tightening these middle ones down on the other side, because that's the middle of this extrusion. So always work from the outside in on the extrusion that you're working on. For anyone who's wondering why we tighten from the outside in, it's because when the T-nuts that we use actually exert a bit of pressure on the extrusions. So under enough force, the extrusion can actually buckle. If we pin the outside down first, it means that if the extrusion does buckle a little bit, it affects it less. Whereas if you tighten from one end and precipitated that buckle going all the way down, this end could kick out in either direction. So you always want to do the outsides first, going inwards, so that you minimize the chance of that happening. Perfect. So, same thing again on the other side now. Before I get going, I am just going to do a quick double check. Make sure nothing's shifted whilst I've been tightening it all up. I have noticed that this extrusion... Sorry, this... rail sticking out just a little bit, so loosen it up. Yeah, shifted. There we go. This is my non-reference rail, so that's fine. I can move this side. I wouldn't want to move the reference one that I put the little squiggle on. Right, so let's do the same process again on the other side now. This side's going to be a lot easier to do because I don't need to worry about it being on an awkward plane. I can actually use proper reference. Whilst we're here, whilst I've actually got people here, is there anything people want to see in CASA? Any modules they want to see worked on? Obviously, we got the tiny compressor that may or may not work at this point. I don't know. That's in the works. And the lights are in the works. Is there anything else anyone really wants to see? Or any suggestions? This is your time to talk about it because I'm the guy who designs it all. Also, who was it who, his thing was AO Dude, who designed the foldable CASA basement out of ACM. That was really cool. And I hope that all works out well, because that was an incredibly cool mod. Who is messaging me at this time of day? Oh, it's AliExpress. Go away, AliExpress. I don't want you here. Right. Okay. So it's this lane, and then do the last two. So if you are building your own Milo, this is probably a good pattern to follow. So take a photo of that, take a screenshot. Once it's all flipped over, you can use this kind of pattern to show you exactly where to pre-place these. Obviously, you could just use the plates as a reference, but it gets a bit annoying having to constantly work on that. I'm curious how that origami basement will work. So am I. I can kind of see it. I can kind of understand it. It basically gets rid of the printed parts that are in the middle of the bed. So, and replaces it with... Well, that's at least what I'm thinking it's doing. I don't know that for sure. Do you know what I think would actually really help for FMJs? Is probably a clip that's at the top, so that you know where to reference this top edge off of. Because the top edge doesn't quite meet the top edge of the extrusion. There's about a centimeter's gap. It'd be nice. I think it might be a good idea to get a printed clip-on, just like we do for the rails, that clips around both rails and the top of the extrusion, and then you can press your FMJ up against the top of that, and it will line everything up automatically. Automagically. Right, and now let's get putting some screws in. So that's referenced off of the bottom of that lip there. Going in. So what I'm going to do is because I've got it pinned in just a single point, I'll still be able to pivot it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that it lines up with the back of the extrusion, and then also make sure it's 90 degrees with the bottom of this extrusion before I start putting more in. And it'll just save me a bit of time later. And any other screw will just pin it in place. Yeah, I'm really curious about that origami basement. It's like, is it a kirigami bed on the V0s? Kirigami beds are the ones that are a folded sheet metal. Kirigami beds are really cool for making the whole assembly a lot easier to do, because the bed on a V0 is not an easy thing to put together. It's hard as fuck. You need to have tiny hands and lots of patience. Two things I don't have. They do not, however, add any performance to the machines, from what I have seen other people talk about. I think the first time I did this on stream, it took me like an hour and a half to get the first FMJ on. I don't think we're doing too bad, actually. Never mind, it's just the Discord going crazy. There's still 2 more down here that we haven't put in, but we'll do those in a second. Because those are so far away from all the other screws, there's no real reference plane, whereas if you get the first row in here, you can reference all the other ones off of that. You can't really do that on the bottom ones. But we're getting there. We're nearly there. How did I get these top ones so wrong? So everything is still finger tight right now. At least it's meant to be. Just noticed that it's flat on this side, but not quite flat on the other side. So what I'm guessing is what's happened is it's kicked out a little bit. So this side is pointing inwards on the back extrusion. This side's pointing inwards. This side's pointing outwards. So I'm just gonna make sure everything's loosened up. And you really do need to make sure that everything's loosened, because even finger tight across this many bolts still feels tight. There we go. There we go. Something full. Is there a common torque spec for fixing the 2020 when using T-nuts for Milo? No, there isn't a common spec for it. Issue is every different supplier has a different extrusion thickness, the actual wall thickness on the extrusion. So it's really down to A, the manufacturer, and B, how much stress that wall can take. If you're doing 3D printed parts, you'll know that it doesn't take a lot to crack a 3D printed part. So you really shouldn't need to torque it down that much. Torque it down until you hear a slight crack, and then realize that you've gone too far and reprint the part that you just made. That seems to be the general engineering advice. Now, it takes some time. It takes some time to kind of get used to the finesse of it. How tight you should go, how tight you shouldn't. So sorry they couldn't give you a full answer there. It's an it depends kind of answer. Also depends on what you're actually trying to do with it. So like a blind joint can take a lot more torque than if you're just attaching a printed part down to an extrusion. Right, same as before, outside's in for the extrusion that you're working on. So I'll do this extrusion here first. And then we'll move to the next one. Because there's 2 rows on this one, I can do that. There we go. Perfect. Right, there we go. That's the boring part out of the way. I tend to tighten these up properly, like really torque them down once the build is done, and once it's had a few days to settle, because you can have what's called strain over time, and strain is when a material inelastically deforms because it's been put under a load of stress. Stress is just how much tension is on it, how much compression on it, things like that. So sometimes it takes a few days for all the strain to happen, everything to move, to shift a little bit, and then you can tighten it down again, and that's when you actually want to start torquing things down. So don't go balls to the wall the first time you tighten everything else. It's just not worth it, and you're going to have to adjust it later anyway. Now, let's go back to... I can do those bits later, just because they get in the way. I can't keep this thing flat. I can do those things once it's installed onto the y-axis. What we can do now is we can do the bearing block. I'm going to need one of these bad boys. A couple of locking collars. I can use those. I won't need straight away, so I'll just put them there for now. Where is my nice set of locking collars? There we go. If you haven't seen these, if you missed any of the other streams, I am starting to recommend that you get a set of these. Now these just have the same internal thread as the TR8x8 lead screw that we use. So what you can do is you can couple these up with one of the lead screw collars, the locking collars, and then you can tighten these and put pressure on the locking collar, and that way you get a little bit less backlash. I only have one left. That's all right for the Z-axis, because the Z-axis doesn't have that much backlash anyway, because of how much weight is on it, and gravity's acting on that. But I am ordering some more, and once it arrives, I'm going to install it onto here, onto the top half. This one's just going to be installed onto the bottom for now. I'm going to tape this bearing on so it doesn't fall out whilst I'm installing it as well. I should probably add it to the bomb or something. They're really cheap as well. They're like $2 for a pack of 5. You need at least 3 and a maximum of 6 for a whole Milo build if you want to do every single axis and double them up on every single axis, which isn't a bad idea to do, but ooh, I just realized something. Huh. Yes, I completely forgot about this. So, because this is the beta kit that we're using, there are some issues with it. I've just found one of them, which is there's no tapping done in the bottom of here. So I'm just going to quickly run a tap through there with a drill. I hope that answered your question, Stumbling Fool. I know it wasn't very much of a good answer. Probably not the answer that you were looking for, but I hope it did help out, just in understanding it all. How does the top bit mount again? Forget. It's mount with 4 screws. Yes, it does. And I'm getting aluminium chips all over myself. Right, that should cover that. And we can get back to what we were doing. Sweet. As this has become a bit of a tradition on my streams, I'm going to ask you a question. You have to think about it and give me an answer. A hypothetical question. So hypothetically, you were stranded on a desert island. You had one person who was with you, but you had to choose whether or not their top half or their bottom half was a fish. It can be any gender, it can be any build, they can be anything you want. But if you were trapped on a desert island and half of that person had to be a fish, which half would you choose? Top half or bottom half? And then we can put the ballast box in. I haven't filled the ballast box yet, but it's easy. It's an easy enough part that I can fill later on. If you are ordering from DMS, because it's a production issue, that these take too long to print, so we have shortened them up. They really don't affect performance that much with the shortened versions, but these are the ones that you will get. It's also a shipping reason. This way, they all the parts fit in one box. And I've just broken mine. Oh wait. Oh well. Ah, that's really annoying. Yeah, so what's happened is the FMJs are a little bit too tight to fit that section in because of the paint that I put on them. So as I tried to tighten it, it started to lever backwards and it's broken this bit here. It's all right. It's all right. It's a minor piece. We can get on with the build. Either that or I steal a black one from one of the kits that's already been made up. Yeah, I'll fix it another time. I'll reprint one, fix it another time. Instead, let's get to making up some other bits and pieces. That's installed, the tape's in there. Jose Ferreira says bottom half. Why bottom half? Why bottom half? You need to give me a reason for your answer. You can't just say the answer. You need to give me a reason for it. What benefit does only having the bottom half as a fish give you? What do I need to do next? Yes, that's what I need to do. I need to heat my soldering iron up and get my Z-axis bearing block. Not bearing block, Z-axis. There it is. Z-axis nut block. Right. M5's heat inserts. If the top half was a fish, we wouldn't be able to talk, for instance. This is true. But would you give up the potential for being able, for that person being able to speak to fish? Because if you're trapped on a desert island, you're going to need food. You probably won't have stuff there that you can harvest. You'll probably run out of things to hunt. But there's always an ocean. So if you had someone who could speak to fish, right, you'd be at an advantage. You'd be able to survive for longer. And I think you'd be more likely to speak if you had the top half of a fish than the bottom half. Lower that down because otherwise it's going to melt straight through my bearing block. Why do I keep calling it bearing block? Nut block. That's what I keep trying to say. And then because these are through holes, we're going to be using the longer M3 heats inserts. Go. True, but if the top half was a fish, I wouldn't be able to talk, for instance. True, but it'd be very awkward to see a fish running around in two legs as opposed to seeing a mermaid. I don't know. Why do we see? No, actually, no. I'm not going to get that deep into it. I'll take your point. I'll take your point. Top fish don't have ears, so we'll not hear what you will say to it. That's a good point. Can fish hear? I don't actually know if fish can hear. Do they have a way of understanding sound? Oh my god. You're giving me an existential crisis. Do fish have ears? Does anyone know? Do fish have ears? Or do they hear in a different way than humans do? They like hear through vibrations like Helen Keller or something. Yeah, but dolphins aren't fish though. Dolphins are a type of mammal, so I can understand them having ears. Oh, that's my unopened bottle. My open bottle. My open bottle Loctite. There it is. I've had that happen before. Huh. Lots of bottles jammed up. So for yesterday, I was explaining how for all the nut blocks, how you have a fixed side and you have a loose side, and you can adjust the loose side. Typically, you want the loose side to be the one that's the most accessible. You don't need to worry too much about it for the Z-axis, because the Z-axis has so much weight on it. The nut block, the anti-backlash part of the nut block, isn't going to do much in the way of actually helping with the backlash, because there's already that much weight on it. You don't need to worry about it too much. So I am just going to do any random side for that. Also, I've managed to get my microphone cable mixed around my chair. Technical difficulties, give me one moment. There we go. I need to grab the screw from the box back here. Going to Real Aquatics UK site. Do fish have ears? Well, yes, but you can't see them because fish's ears are located inside the head behind each... Oh, no. That's just made me more upset now. Don't want to know that. God, ooh, can you imagine hearing behind your eyes? God. This whole stream's just been an existential crisis for me today. Where's my lube gone? There it is. Right. Always remember to lubricate your anti-backlash nuts before you set the anti-backlash on them, before you preload them. Because otherwise, you may be underloading them, underdoing the preload. I mean, technically an ear is an internal organ anyway. It's just the skin part of... The skin part? God. What has the stream turned into? But yeah, the skin part of your ear is on the outside, but the actual hearing part is on the inside. That's why people without ears can still hear. I guess you could still say they're an internal organ. Just for reference, I've decided that this side's going to be the fixed side, and the tapered side is going to be the loose side. I've also put a bit of lubricant in the back, just so that when we set the preload, I'm setting it correctly. And all you do is do some half turns until the screw starts to push through nice and easily. Tighten it up a little bit. Before I tighten it up, I'm actually going to take each screw out, dip it in a bit of Loctite, only the tiniest amount. You don't want it eating through the plastic by accident. And then I'm going to set the preload like this. So give it a twist. That's just about right on that side. Take the other screw out. and Loctite it. Nowhere in the build is it more important than on these bits here to Loctite it. Otherwise, these screws won't produce the correct. They'll move over time and they won't produce the correct preload, and you'll just get a bunch of backlash in your system. Right. The fact is that sound travels through air and through water. In the case of the fish, they are immersed, so vibrations travel through their body. Yeah, I can get that. That one's okay. I can understand that one. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do this a little bit different from what I think the manual's about to say. Yes, I know I wrote the manual. Yes, I know I forgot parts of the manual. It happens. I'm going to see if I can slide it in this way. Yeah, that works. Is this the correct way round? Oh, no, that way. Do this a bit more. Wait. I'm going to take that little bit of tape off now. That was keeping the nut in place. Go. I'm also going to take... Where's it gone? Take some of those. And where has the other piece gone? There we go. So, I'm going to take that little brass nut that we had before. I'm going to preload that onto here. I'm also going to take one of the locking collars. Preload the locking collar with the grub screws that come with it. Make sure that these are Loctited. The ones that come with the LDO kits are pre-Loctited. Sweet. And I'm also going to preload that onto here as well. Then we're going to drop this in. It's going to go into the bearing. And I'm just going to put my finger up against the bottom of the bearing block. And this screw should never go past the bottom of the bearing block. There we go. What I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to put that there. And that just ensures that that's not going anywhere. You could, at this point, tighten these up. I think I might just do that. Just to make my life a little bit easier. I would tighten them up just to hold them in place. And then I would do everything else that needs to get done. And then come back and tighten this up again. Or tighten it up from the top with another one of those clips. There are lots of ways to do it. This is just the way I'm deciding to do it. Don't forget that even though the grub screws that come with the LDO kit are pre-Loctited, the ones that come with those little nuts are not. So I need to make sure that I've Loctited this one. Sweet. And if I had another set, I'd put it on top here, but I don't. Next step. Rail's already on, so we can put the plates on. Go. And what do we need? We need M5 by 16. 5 by 12. 5 by 16. Have I been using the wrong screws up to this point? Or the other axes blocks, anti-backlash blocks? Because I have a lot of MC16s. M516, sorry. A little bit of Loctite on these. Just the tiniest amount. Because again, you really don't want that Loctite coming into contact with any of the plastic parts. I know the side, that side is my reference side because it's got a little squiggle on it. So I'm going to, once these two bits are in, I'm going to tighten up that side first. The carriages on that side, that is. And then tighten those up fully. Leave the anti-nut but backlash nut done a little bit loose. That might want to self-correct later on. And these are M3 by 5. Do a quick squiggle so I remember that that's the side. And then we're going to do the same thing with the other carriage on the reference side. So tighten that up fully. Is this not tightening up? There we go. Ooh. Something's up here. Yeah. So before you start tightening the second carriage up, it's actually a good idea to keep them loose and then run the carriage up and down once or twice. Go. Tight. Should be fine. It's not actually overly tight, to be fair. So, my reference side is still in. I've done all the carriages. I put at least 2 fasteners in each one of the carriages. I'm actually going to do all 4, but they're all still loose. What I'll do is I'll just run it up and down. Should auto-align everything to the original point of reference, which is that rail there. I can start tightening the rail up on the outside in, the non-reference rail. Go. There we go. And then I can start tightening it up. So that's the side I tightened up fully. Then we're going to go in a kind of cross pattern. So this side next. Every time you check you tighten up one of the crosses, give it a quick move. Tighten this one up on this end. That's still moving fairly smooth. Right, that's slightly tight on everything, and now we're just going to tighten everything up to nice and snug. Oh my god, I forget how much easier it is to assemble things when you're stood up. I hate being sat down. And same thing again, just keep moving it. Keep making sure that it's all still snug. Right, should be everything. Sweet. Right, so now we can go on to the motor mount. But before we do that, I am just going to go grab a drink. So, take a bit of time, go to the bathroom, do what you need to do. I am going to chill out for a second. And I'm back. Just need to get myself a drink. It's so fucking hot in here. Right, so motor mount is up next. And this is the last piece that requires bearings on it. So last two roller bearings, one in the top, one in the bottom. Top one seems to feel a little bit tighter than the top one. Sorry, top one seems to feel a little bit tighter than the bottom one, so I'm going to do the same thing again just to hold the bottom bearing in place. Ooh, I can't do that now. Now that I've just realised that, I don't need to do that because there's going to be a locking collar in that spot anyway. And that should hold it in place. It's going to go straight onto the screw. So I'll need my locking collars, which are here. Where's my small Allen key? There it is. Preload the grub screws onto this. And that can go onto there. And then we can press this bit on, so that even if that bearing were to slip out right now, it would slip out onto the shaft of the Z-axis lead screw, and we wouldn't need to worry about it too much. Before I get any further, I'm actually going to tighten this up. I forgot to tighten these nut block up. And then what screws do I need? Is that axis? I need some M5 by 12. 5 by 12 or M5 by 12? Those are M5 by 12. 5 by 12. That's what. Right, what's everyone got planned for tomorrow? Anyone got Milo builds planned? Casa builds planned? I know Thomas does, because his panels have just arrived. And I think, if I remember correctly, he's already started work on his frame. I would love to see that. Oh, but he doesn't have any printed parts, does he? Ah, never mind. Someone else. Anyone else got anything planned for tomorrow? Anything fun? Anything to do with Milo? Anything to do not with Milo? Let the class know. Work tomorrow. Oh no, on a Sunday. Oh, I say that. I used to work a job that was worked every weekend as well, so don't know why I'm saying that. Where do you work? Hey, Marcus. Mine's on pre-order. What's on pre-order? Milo. I thought you meant Casa there for a second. I was like, is there a company that's already got Casa pre-ordered? Up for pre-order? Now, nice thing about this is if you've set the screws, sorry, the collars at the bottom already, what you can do is you can just stick your thumb on the locking collar up here and press your thumb, sorry, stick your fingers on the top of the locking collar over here, press your thumb onto the lead screw and push downwards, and that will set the locking collars in place. So that's the easiest one to set without the screws. That's why I said you don't need the brass bits or the Z-axis. I'm just going to steal my drill for a second, just to spin it, because I can't spin it by hand, with that little nubbin, and then tighten up the other side. Unless I figure out how to exist in 4th dimension in my workshop, no Milo for me. No! In that case, and I'm not meaning this in a bad way at all, why are you here? Like, my whole channel is, the whole of DMS is Milo based. Are you just living vicariously through me? You can't have a Milo yourself, so you watch other people have a Milo and build theirs, and you somehow live through that. I'm starting my casa build tomorrow afternoon, however. Oh, nice, nice. Are you doing the basement? Or are you just doing the main module? Cool. So what do I have next? Ah, yes, pulleys. Basement, yay! You doing anything special with it, with your build? I want to know everything about it. What color is it gonna be? Is there anything special you're doing with it? Anything that we haven't done just yet? Give me all the details, all the details. Or are you just going with an all-black build? I have manual mill in similar size as Milo. Is proved to be a good substitute. Hey, it's Scale! Hey, there, bud. It's proven to be a good substitute. I will sell it and build Milo. Oh, if it proves to be a good... Ah, you got a manual machine. You got a manual machine. I don't think there's much of a point to build Milo, because you can get away with a lot on a manual machine. I'd also say that it's probably cheaper and more effective if you've got the mill already. This is only if you've got the mill already, to upgrade that mill to CNC, especially if it's a proper cast iron one. Then it would be to build a fresh new Milo. But hey, man, your money at the end of the day. Hey, Scale, what have you been up to today, bud? Hint, being French doesn't count. Suddenly full. I might do a white interior for better viewing. A white interior. Is that not just going to get covered in oil and grease and look really grimy after a while? Shrouded in programming a rectangle potting routine for my software. 4th iteration. Nice. How is that looking, by the way? I haven't seen it. You haven't given me any updates on it since Smurf. No. Right. What do I need next? I am going to need washers. Get this ready because this is a bit of a pain, this little bit of process here. Also, these are M5x16s. They need to go back in the bag, otherwise I'm going to lose them. need some 5x20. 12. 5x25. Where are my M5x20s? There they are. I know I harp on a lot about the fastener bags and things like that from LDO, but it is nice to have them all organized already. And I'm so glad LDO swapped over from the cheap iron oxide screws to the nickel plated ones, because the nickel plated ones are so much nicer and so much better looking as well. Alright, so I need those screws. I need 2 of these nuts here. Oh, sorry, 4 of these nuts here. The rendering part is on pause, but the G-code generation is working perfectly. I made a good post-process for Gerbil for my WM3020. Oh, nice. Nice. Glad to hear it, bud. And I need some washers as well. I'm going to need some M5 washers. Sweet. Whoa! I feel like that's way more than is required in the kit. You only need 8 in the kit, and they sent billions of them. I'm also going to put that back before I lose it. So, belt goes on, like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and hold it in place using a 1, 2, 3 block. There we go. That worked perfect. I amaze myself sometimes with my genius. No, I don't. I amaze myself sometimes with how dumb I can be. Hey Alan, how you doing, bud? Halfway through plate 1 of Casa panels, 14 more to go. Nice. Are you self-sourcing your own, bud? Or are you doing them for West 3D? Also, by the way, I did give you a little bit of shout out earlier. If you don't know who Alan is, he owns a company called West 3D. They make some utterly insane filament, so go ahead and check them out if you're in the US. If you're not, you're shit out of luck. Because they really do make some nice filament. I mean, what's more cost effective? Counting 8 washers or sending about 20? Yeah, you're not wrong. You're probably not wrong there. Right. So those are preloaded. So I now need a spanner. Not a spanner. You can use a spanner, but I'm not using a spanner. I meant to say some pliers. I use the ones off my Leatherman for now. Now here's the awkward part about tightening this all up. Because the angle that it's at, you can get an Allen key behind it, but you can't use it to actually do any of the tightening. You need to be able to, tighten it from the nut side using a set of spanners or something like that. I don't have any spanners that fit right now, so I'm just going to use my Leatherman. This work here. Daniel owns the company. I'm printing in anticipation for the LDO kit. Oh, okay. So I was under the impression that it was you who own the company. And Daniel worked for you, but you learn something new every day, don't you? Oh, this is the time I wish I had a ratcheting spanner. Wrench, as the Americans would call it. Use the drill chuck. No. No. I kind of want to be able to finish this build. Oh, I really need to change the settings on that camera because I really hate the view that it's on. But it is the best camera for you guys to actually see what's going on here. Unfortunately. Nope, it's an awkward angle. Do it like this. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't hear about West 3D until... No, I'd heard like bits and pieces about West 3D. But I thought it was quite a small shop, and then you guys came onto the scene with Milo, and I realized how big you guys actually were. It's a bit hard to gauge, like, what are the big companies for 3D printing in the US, because obviously I don't live there. And we basically got 3 or 4 in the entirety of the UK that we use around here. And that's like Printy Please, 3D Jake, stuff like that. 123D, and now us. Right. That sounds like a nice tight belt. We're growing up to 5 people, expanding the warehouse soon. Nice. Well, currently the warehouse for DMS is my flat. My entire kitchen table is taken up by printed parts orders currently, and my closet is full of Voron V2s. So, I'm glad someone's expanding. It's just the way this kind of thing starts, isn't it? It's always a... It's the way it is. Just the way it is. You are the true CNC kitchen. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where I used to build all my stuff. Before I set this room up, I built the prototypes in my kitchen. Because I had a glass countertop. Oh, not a glass counter. My cooker has a glass top on it, so I would use that to make sure everything was flat. Sweet. Right, so that is Z-axis assembled in terms of the motion part of it. Is there anything I'm missing before we go any further? Braces, we don't need to worry about those because we've got SMJs. Right, it is the motor mount next. Sorry, the spindle mount next. So, let's assemble, let's do all the heat sets for the spindle mount. Then we'll do some partial wiring for the XY axis. Just to get the end stops through and the motor wires through. And then we'll attach the two together. Right. Soldering iron, 280. And some M5 inserts. Have to see more companies outside the US. We're happy to sell overseas, but it's expensive for the customer, and we want them to support their local. Yeah, it makes sense. Like, and out of all the communities I've ever been a part of, this is the one community where everyone actually likes each other. And I know that's weird to say, but everyone from like Fabrico and West 3D gets along. Everyone from 123D and 3D Jake gets along. It's really weird because a lot of companies see each other as competitors and they don't try and interact with each other, whereas there's just so much of it in the 3D printing space and the DIY CNC machine space now. And it's just so lovely to see. It's just so nice. Move that out of the way. Because like the way we got started was Jason asked us for some recommended vendors in the US, and we said, these guys. And then he asked for some recommended vendors in the EU, and we said, there's only really one. There's 3D Jake. And then he asked, okay, what about the vendors in the UK then? He said, there's a couple of vendors, but there's not too many of them really. And Jason just turned around and said, oh, what about you guys? And said, so we told him, okay, it would be great, but we don't have the money to set up a shop right now. And he turned straight around and said, don't worry. What we'll do is we'll do like a pay as you sell setup. And he was so supportive the whole time, and basically didn't really give us an option to say no because the deal was just that good. And it's just so wonderful to see in this community. Right. We'll do a few sets of inserts. I missed a few in an earlier step. I skipped a few in an earlier step. That one needs some. I'll leave this out because we're going to use it later. Hector gave Daniel his start selling 4-on fastener kits. Without Fabrico, it literally wouldn't be a West 3D. We all help each other, and the competitor pushes us all to be like, yeah, it's so good. It's genuinely just so good. What other industry could you see that in though? Like, it just doesn't happen. You know what I've noticed as well, ever since we started doing the printed part kits? My idea for the quality of things has gone up immensely after having access to better tools. And I know that sounds weird, but like, the fact that I can print better and print decent things with like my Bamboo Labs and my Cheaty Techs, because those were donated to me either through work or through Jason. It's made it a lot easier to produce and even design quality parts. I know that sounds weird to say, but it just does. I feel like my engineering capabilities got a lot better since I've had access to good machines. And that might just be like an iterations thing. I can get more parts out in a week, and I can improve those parts quicker because I can put more iterations out. What else do I need? I'm gonna need some M5x12. Put those on now. They might swell. 5x12. Hector is also one of those people who's just absolutely amazingly good. Like, just a good dude in general. He gave me my first ever donation to the project. A completely unproven project, a completely unknown project to the masses. And he took one look at it and went, you know what, I'd like to support that. And I think he sent me like 500 US to finish the first prototype for the 1.5. That doesn't seem like that long ago, but that was over like 2 years ago now. It depends what you mean by what my favorite is, Stumbling. My favorite, as in it produces the best quality, is my P1S, which I only got recently. The Cheaties are great production machines because they don't take very much space up, and they can go a bit faster than my P1S actually. So I prefer those for my production. The print quality is still really good on them, but they aren't as good as the P1S's print quality. My Switchwire is my favorite build that I've ever done because it's just dumb and makes no sense, and I love it. For that reason, I like dumb builds and dumb things. It makes me happy, in a way. My Switchwire it's not a stock Switchwire, by the way. It was made out of an Anycubic Mega Zero, which, if you don't know, doesn't have a heated bed. So I had to like modify a heated bed onto it. I love building Core XZs. I've built 2 of them. One of them's now at a mate's, but I just like it because they're so fun to build. They're incredibly easy builds to do as well. Like, I find classic bed slingers harder to put together than Core XZs. Alan, how have you found the whole build for Milo so far? Is there anything we can do on the team to make it a bit better? How have you found the stuff like surrounding the build as well? Like, how's the community been from your perspective? Is there anything you think that we could be doing better in any part of that? Is there anything that you would love for the machine to have in future? Any feature request you'd like? That question goes for anyone as well. Like, anyone can answer that. I wish I had an electric screwdriver right now that was strong enough to do these big M5s. Community has been great. I still so new to machining. It's hard to give a meaningful feedback. That's fair. Yeah. I think the next year or two is going to be a big change to the DIY CNC space. I think people are going to realize that soon. I think give it 2 or 3 years and CNCs, this is my wild prediction, I think CNCs will be as easy to use, or people will have as much knowledge to use them as people with 3D printers. Because I think there's a lot of projects out there that are being worked on to make life a bit easier for you guys. I think the prices of things have finally come down enough because of the 3D printing arms race. Found the community to be great. Like Alan, I'm very new to machining, so just enjoying the content and waiting for LDO to order. LDO ordered to ship. Nice. Where have you ordered from, by the way, Paul? I'm going to try and machine Dave's fixated clamps before Rocky Mountain Festival. The HOI after. Nice. Yeah. So Dave should be sending me a set of HOIs. So we might be doing this whole part again on a later stream date. There needs to be a software to create the CAM file similar in easy to 3D printing slices. Nope, that's never going to happen. I don't think that's ever going to happen. One, because it dumbs down the process and you don't have full control over it, and you need full control. It's not like a 3D printer where you can just let it decide what it wants to do for you and it will probably be okay. It's not like that. You're responsible for that machine as the operator a lot more than you are in the 3D printing world. And I don't like the idea of just making it a one-click solution. I think at some point it's going to be something that so many people have knowledge on that the knowledge base is going to be easily accessible and you'll be able to learn CAM a lot easier, but I don't think it should be something that we just let a machine do automatically. I think that's just a bit irresponsible more than anything. Let me take this out of shot. Sweet. That is that done. Let's bring the Z-axis back up actually. Do the spindle mount. And then we'll do the XY cable routing. No. doesn't say so in the manual, but because of some stuff that Steve has commented on in the past, I'm going to put a washer there. We're just going to pre-tighten everything and then come back round on the other side. So. Is this a change that you'll put in the manual? This? No, because it doesn't actually do very much. And kit's already out there, so you need to change bombs and things like that. It's not a big change either, it's just adding a washer. I actually don't know if the bomb calls it out. Sorry, the manual calls it out or not. Does the manual call it out? Oh, no. Never mind. The manual does have it. They do have washers on them. So long ago that I put that together, I completely forgotten it. Ah, damn it. Sorry, we get feedback from people, so Steve must have just missed it in the manual when he put it together. Yeah, one of those things, like, the community probably knows more about putting Milo together than I do. I designed the damn thing. That's because there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of shared knowledge that you guys have that I just haven't needed to access. Because typically I'm working on other machines. Nowadays, I don't really work on V1.5 that much. This side needs to be tightened a little bit more before I can put a washer on. Yeah, every Nylock has had a washer since I built my yellow monster. Yeah. I thought it did, but then Steve said something about it and I was like, oh, it must not. It might have been in reference to the FMJs, though. Could well be that that's what the case was. Sweet. Alright, now we can start tightening things up. Is my tongue. 11. There we go. It would be nice to see a touch probe included with the kit. It's a large quality of life improvement. Yeah, we have recommended it to LDO, but there are some things that we can only go as far as recommending. I know we're definitely going to put it in the bomb for V2. It's not as easy as just saying, oh, put it in there, because they obviously got... Oh, you should know this, like... they've got kits already made, or they got supplier contracts, stuff like that. Adding a supplier contract at the very end of something isn't great. It also doesn't look great on the people who have batch 1 kits, who pay the exact same amount of money and don't get it versus the people who get the later kits and pay the same amount of money and they get them. It doesn't look that good. I think we're definitely, all the vendors should definitely, all the third-party vendors should definitely find a supplier for them and offer them. It's what we're doing at DMS, is we're working to get a solution for that, so people can just order them from us. Let you see what I'm doing. Also, I think for now, LDO is thinking of finishing off at batch 3. I don't know if there's going to be a batch 4 on order quite yet. And that's just to gauge interest in the project. So, and also leave room for like future machines and things like that. So who knows? With all the batch 3 kits already ordered, they've all been sold from what I know. It might be too late to add things. Right, let's do some wiring. A little bit of wiring. First things first, I need to attach. Why is that spinning? Oh, it's because I have this. Yeah, that bottoms out slightly. What I can do... Yeah, where's my other 1, 2, 3 block gone? Strange, where's that gone? One, 2, 3 block there. Where's the other one gone? There it is. I'm just going to raise this up on blocks for a bit. Because this is slightly... The wheel is slightly larger than the bottom of the mill, so it just rocks around. I can't sit it straight. There we go. Milo on blocks. Yeah. It also means it can fit a bit easier on my table, because it's not knocking against the tool containers. Right, I need some cable chain ends. LDO has started selling update kits for Borons, for example, V2 Rev A or 2 Rev D, V2. They could offer a Milo upgrade kit, get Jason right on it. Yeah, that's true. Hey, I was thinking about putting my program on the loop during machining, like doing the probing and using the results to compute the cuts in the next operation. I am not following there whatsoever, so I couldn't tell you how crazy that sounds. Not too sure what you mean there at scale. You mean it recreates a part from a mesh you've taken? Is that what you're trying to get at? So you probe a whole part, kind of like a CMM. from what I know, the revisions are design revision kits as well. They're not just LDO revisions as well. But I might be wrong there. I might be wrong. You could CMM it. I mean, technically, if your motion system's accurate enough, you could CMM anything. Turn anything into a CMM. Maybe not anything, but... If a guy's done something like this, like turning a mill into a CMM. Basic use case would be you place any stock in the machine, it measures it, and it squares it. I think that would need to be done at a firmware level, though. So you can get something called skew compensation, which... Oh, do you mean it squares it as in it runs an operation that squares it? Or do you mean it squares it as in like it effectively trams in the X and Y? Like skew compensation. They use the probe parts and modified tool offsets. Cool. Not sure if that's what we're after. I'm sure Xscale could explain, could tell you if that's true or not. Loads of lock nuts. I need more lock nuts, so I'm happy there's tons left over. There. I've just spun myself around and got myself caught in my chair again. Oh. On this stream, more than any of my other streams, I'm just getting caught up in my own chair. Where's the cables? Cables. Oh, lovely pre-terminated cables. I'm gonna need the X motor mount, sorry, X motor cable and Midmin, Z motor. I don't want Z motor, I want X motor. And my earphones are dying. ZMIN1 is VFD cable, X motor, and X end stop. Perfect. The general idea would be to generate a path from the results of a multiple touches with a probe. It sounds cool. It sounds useful, but I don't know how useful it actually would be. Because generally, you'd be squaring stock off. If it's not something that's pre-made to be square, you just square it up in your machine first, and then run off the same work coordinate system as the squaring cuts were done off of. And that way, you can just ensure that so if you have an op1 which squares the entire stock up, your op2, so long as you don't change anything in the machine, will always use the same work coordinate system, and it will just work like that. So you just oversize the stock a little bit, get it roughly in the right orientation, and then it works from there. I can see where you're coming from. I don't see that it's got a practical benefit. But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. Maybe professional machinists might love you for it. Also, doing it at a cam generation level seems weird to me, rather than doing it from a firmware level. Oh god, it's only one. Oh, lovely. I love that. It's one cable. I didn't know that these came in a single cable. So the the motor wire and the X-min cable are part of the same sleeve. Oh god, I love that. I love that so much. I know it seems weird to be excited about that little detail, but it just, stuff like that makes me happy. Makes me very happy. Need some M2.5 screws. Three by 6. No, I don't need those. M2.5 by 8. Got to go have a fun stream all. Cheers, dude. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks for coming. That's an abrupt change of song. Reason why we're doing this little bit of wiring first is because it becomes a lot harder to do once it's attached to the base, to get these cables fed through and set up in the cable chains. The two long chains that come with the LDO kit are for the XY transition. They're both for the X-axis cable, but they run in 2 axes. Why are you not opening? No. Spare your fingernails, use a wrench. Ah, nah. I lose my fingernails every time I go to work. It's part of what I do. I'm a hard man. I realize that to our US viewers, that might sound very weird. That might sound, not too appropriate. There we go. Sweet. And we can start putting zip ties in now. And zip tying them down. Now you want to make sure that you have enough slack that it can take any misalignments, but it's not going to stick out too far to hit anything that might be moving. Sweet. 2 more, then we can flip the machine over. Sweet, and now we can flip the entire thing over. Oh, wait, one more zip tied, then we can flip the whole thing over. Yep. And let's cut the ends off. Make it look all pretty. Wait. Onto the lap for now. Get 1, 2, 3 blocks out the way. Everything else out the way. We don't need. Yeah. Oh, I'm making a huge mess here, but it's alright. It's nearly over. Everyone in the chat is just cringing right now. That looks good. That feels good. Oop. Side. I'll treat this once, Xscale. Just this once. Nearly 3 hours. In that case, I just want to say a big thank you for everyone who's been watching for the entirety of the stream. It really helps out. If you do like what I do, make sure you hit the like button. Thank you again for all your support. I know I'm not exactly as exciting to watch as all the other big YouTubers, well, bigger 3D printing YouTubers, but you know what? I still enjoy having you guys around. Enjoy making content for you guys. Any update on updating the toolset to include a reference surface? It's a project I haven't started yet. It's going to be one of those things I just get done in a day. It's really easy to... We know what the problem is. We know what the issue is. It's going to be incredibly easy just to add something there. The way we're doing it is what we're debating at the moment. So effectively, Dave wants it to be a flat surface. But the issue with having a flat surface is you need to make sure that that point is completely trammed to the tool that you're referencing, or the pin that you're using to reference. So the solution is either to use a ball bearing where there's a single highest point that you'll always hit with a plane, so that way it will compensate for any misalignment, or to use a rounded edge pin. But the issue with that is there's no ISO standard for a dowel pin with a rounded top. So it's currently, we know how to fix it. Once we have a solution, once we have a standard part that we can use, it will be half a day's worth of development to do. We can then test it for a week, give it to 9 Mile so we can do all the moss stuff with it. But until we can find a decent standard that has that rounded point, we just got to keep looking. It's an awkward one. but it's got to be done. Hopefully that made some sense as well, and my explanation wasn't just sheer chaos. Yeah, it's something I gotta work on. I gotta work on explaining things better. Lovely stuff. Oh. Right, so I think at this point we can say, you know what, actually let's do it. Let's attach the Z-axis. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the wheel from the front. Just so that I don't have to worry about it tipping over whilst we're installing the Z-axis. So, not before Rocky Mountain Rep Festival. No. Yeah, sorry about that, bud. When is Rocky Mountain? I don't actually know. I could probably have a better look at some stage soon. And throw something together for you that you can, as a kind of prototype that you can show off, if you really wanted to. Right, we're going to do the rear. M5x12. We'll do the rear M5x12 first. Because at least that way I know it's attached to the base. No worries, April 19th. I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do. Again, like I said, it should be an easy enough part just to bash out in a day. We just need to find a standard part that works everywhere you are in the world. Everywhere and anywhere. How good slash bad is doing helical boring a single flute end mill, aka am I committing? Helical boring, do you mean a ramp-in boring? So yeah, that's a standard. That's what most people do. It's a lot better on your tool because you've got constant tool engagement. So I would say that is a-okay to do. Because plunge boring is just not really a thing that's even done anywhere, really. Unless you've got a proper boring tool or boring head on your machine. gonna move the table out the way, so I need to reattach this. Yeah, it's called a ramp in on Fusion. You can do it part of the bore operation as well. It's called I forget what the actual term is called. I think it's called an interpolated circular feature is what the actual proper CNC name is for it. Either circular or bore feature. And yeah, it's something that they do on the free tier. I think you have to, because if you don't do that on the free tier, then a lot of machines that don't have the rigidity to do a straight plunge, which is your whole hobby level, wouldn't be able to use Fusion. And that's not good. You effectively kill it for hobby CNC users. And as much as Fusion has made some weird decisions in the past on that, I don't think they'd want to lose that segment of the market. You don't know what I'm doing. I'm tilting the head back. I'm also going to put a 1, 2, 3 block, clamp it up against the column as a reference. So when I pull this back and move the 1, 2, 3 block down, hopefully it means that this whole structure, the whole L shape, the whole column is now sitting perpendicular to the bed or to the rest of the assembly. Let me see if it's a better view from overhead. Yeah, not really. I'll go back to the side view. Yeah, so I've got a clamp over here. I'll get rid of the instructions. So, I've got a clamp over here with a 1, 2, 3 block. The 1, 2, 3 block has been pressed up against the extrusion over here. I've also pulled the entirety of the column back, lowered the 1, 2, 3 block down, and that way, because the flats are pressing up against the column, and then the perpendicular flats on the 1, 2, 3 block are now pressing up against the rail, this whole section should now be perfectly 90 degrees to each other. At least that's what I'm hoping. It's something you can fix in tramming later, but the more you worry about it now, the less you have to fix it later. Now, you might think at this point, because I've done this, that this is going to be perfectly aligned. It might be in that direction, but because we've only pressed up, we've only clamped it down to one side, we might have introduced some twist into it. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, just to make sure that we're not adding any unnecessary twist into the column. Let's get going. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. You too, bud. Thanks for coming. Always lovely to have you here, dude. You're here for a while this time, Xscale. Normally you're the first one to be out. I'm not calling you out. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm joking, by the way. So we'll do this again. I've tightened it up just a little bit. I'm gonna pull the column back and a little bit. And I'm gonna press that 1, 2, 3 block down, and I'm gonna tighten up properly. Right. So I give it a wiggle. I can't feel it shaking it at all. So that means I am happy to proceed to putting screws in. It's late down here. I'm only like 1 time zone away from you. go. And get these nice, tighten up so they don't budge on me. Nice. Right. So that is Z-axis finally all done up. Still haven't used this tool once other than using it to spread lube. So I know LDO, I have no idea what this tool is used for in your kit. Also, that looks crooked on camera. It's not crooked, I promise you, it's just the camera. Yeah, I can zoom. Right, so X-axis is done, Y-axis is done, Z-axis is partially done. I'm not going to do the side bits tonight because they're fairly easy to put on. I'll probably put them on off camera. It's just a screw and a T-nut. And I don't think that's too entertaining to do on stream. So I'll do that off stream, and then we'll mount the spindle tomorrow. Sorry, not tomorrow, on Monday, hopefully, because that's when I'm next available. Once that's done, we'll also do the electronics box, but we won't do the actual electronics inside of it. We'll just do the structure of it. And then I'll work on mounting everything inside Casa, and then hopefully we can get a stream done if I can get a long enough cable for my cameras by then, where you actually see it all cutting inside Casa. Who knows? We might have the FMJs from... Sorry, not the FMJs. The Hearts of Iron mod come from Dave by then, so I might swap everything out again. But for now, thank you for coming. Good having you all here for stream. I think Milo's looking pretty dang excellent at this point in time. And yeah, enjoy your evening, folks. Catch you next time. Monday's going to be the next stream. Bye now.